Could this very sporty V6 Mercury Cougar be yours? Maybe. It's available, but that's not why we're here on a Sunday. Hello and welcome to Trucking Answers. I'm Mark, and it's the Sunday Rant. Hey, I want to tell you, we're going to continue on from last week because there's more information about it. So, the Women in Trucking Advisory Board. See, last week we were talking about overtime pay for truck drivers, right? Where the Fair Labor Standards Act exempts us as drivers from getting minimum wage or overtime. What doesn't exempt you from getting it, okay? It exempts companies from paying it if they don't want to, okay? So they can pay it, they just don't pay it because they're jerks, all right? So if you're not paying it, that is the case. Here's the thing. The Women in Trucking Advisory Board has been around for a year, and they got a bunch of women together to help other women get into the industry and advise the government on what the best ways to do that are. Initially, get this. Now here's where we go off in the conspiracy theory path. But follow me. Get this. When they started up, they had a list of essential things that they wanted. One of them, stop exempting truck drivers from overtime and minimum wage, okay? That it's a barrier to the industry for women, that they have a difficult time supporting their family when they're not being paid, because it's hard to support your family when you're not making any money, okay? That's for women or men, it just turns out. And so that was an essential ingredient of what they wanted. I forget the exact word, essential. I forget what exactly it was. So now the committee is wrapping up their meetings and they're listing out an official list of things. Here's what we're going to present to the government. And so one of the people on there, as you can imagine, guess what, is from the American Trucking Association. I think she's the Legislative Affairs Director. Okay, and she's on the Women in Trucking Advisory Board. Why? Have no idea. It has nothing to do with driving. As far as I know, if she has a CDL, I'm sure she'll be happy to tell me. Well, she said, oh, wait a minute, because the ATA is against this. She says, hey, we can't be doing this. And other women on the committee are like, no, we need to be paid for our time. One woman said drivers regularly work 60 to 70 hours. Yeah, they regularly work more than that, 80, 90 hours a week on the road, 100 hours of actual time where you're doing things for the company and are not paid for it. But this woman pushed back and said no. And so instead of saying, now get this, instead of telling the government, hey, drivers need to be paid for the time, they're going to recommend that it be studied and looked into. Isn't that great? How much power does the ATA have like this? Who did they get to talk to? Did they tell these drivers and all these other people on there, hey, I have no idea, maybe who knows what could happen if you keep pushing this. I don't know. Do they have the power to do that? Absolutely. How many congressmen does the ATA give money to? A lot. Look it up. Okay, a lot. Free Clear Politics or whatever has that kind of information. So if they have a committee where one of their members signs on to say, hey, we support this, they're at odds with each other, aren't they? That's not good. So I personally think, with no evidence or anything else, right, that absolutely the ATA came in and said, hey, we're not going to support this and we'll pull, funding or whatever. Absolutely they would do that. Did they do it? I have no idea. They certainly would do it. See, here's the thing. The head of the ATA makes $52,000 a week, so we don't need to listen to what he has to say when he says you're not going to make money. And this woman on the committee, on the Women in Trucking Committee, she parroted that exactly. First, get this. Oh my gosh, this is so good. Get this. She said, owner-operators are normally paid by the mile or by the load. So, and one of the people on there was like, hey, this doesn't affect the owner-operators, stupid head. This only affects employees. Oh, and then she said, oh yeah, that's right. Employees will generally see a reduction in their pay if they get overtime. Isn't that awesome? Remember what the American Trucking Association is telling you, that if you got paid, you will see less pay. Okay? And so this woman, she just parrots her boss, right? Because, of course, or she's going to be out on her butt, right? She's going to be looking for a job. So absolutely she's going to say that, whether she believes it or not. And that's the disappointing thing about the ATA and about any other place, right? If you have to pair it with you're just a yes man or a yes woman, I guess, for the boss, what the heck good are you? You're no good, right? If you won't stand up for what you believe, then what good are you? So, and Mark, she might believe that. All right, I guess. Let's have her work an extra 20 hours a week without getting paid and see if she makes more money. I mean, I guess that's the way to make more money. We should just increase the work hours to 90 with no pay at all. It's just dumb. And then when they change it like this, the ATA comes in and changes it because of all their power. That's what I think, right? All of this, maybe they have pictures of somebody doing something. I have no idea why they would do this. Why would suddenly the group OK saying, oh yeah, all right, well, what we'll do, we'll just recommend. We'll recommend that we study this. Have a study group. Look, the Fair Labor Standards Act came into effect in 1938. All right, I think we've had enough time to study whether paying people affects their paycheck negatively. I think if I increase the amount of money so that all the time you work you get paid for, I don't see how that negatively affects your paycheck. So that's what they did over there at Women in Trucking. Very disappointing. Very disappointing considering their initial statements. Paying people does not negatively affect their checks. It positively affects your check. If I have you work 20 hours and pay you 15, and I go, next week I'm going to pay you for all 20 hours, you get more pay. Okay, it's pretty simple. Go out there, ask any driver out there that's getting hourly plus overtime how that affects their pay. All right, thanks for watching, and we'll be back soon getting paid on another rant. Overtime pay, right? On Trucking Answers.